Hey there, Mama. Welcome to the Knitting Mamas podcast. If you're a mom who's tired of feeling exhausted and longing for some well-deserved self-care and rest, you are in the right place. I know that finding time for yourself as a busy mom can feel like an impossible puzzle. But guess what? You don't have to compromise anymore. Hi, I'm your host, Nadine Medina, and just like you, I am a mom, wife, and also a happy knitter. Over my 15 years of motherhood, I have been on a journey to discover how to truly recharge without the guilt and the never-ending quest for perfection. The secret? It's all about progress, not perfection. By focusing on simple routines, natural wellness solutions, and the cozy art of knitting, I found the path to feeling whole and content. And on this podcast, I am sharing it all with you so you can do the same. Are you ready to find simple solutions to set yourself free from mom guilt, to take more time for yourself to truly rest, and to use your knitting skills for a mindful routine that creates space in your life so you can breathe easier? Let's take a deep breath, grab those knitting needles, and say goodbye to mom stress. Together, we'll create a supportive community that encourages you to prioritize self-care while juggling all your responsibilities. Sound good? Let's do this. Before we get started with this episode, I want to invite you to the Knitting Mamas Facebook community where we're starting a brand new thing this month. And I'm so excited to introduce this. Everybody who's already in the Knitting Mamas community has been telling me how excited they are. And what we are doing is the Knit and Chill Circle, where we get to hang out live on Zoom. It'll be about a half an hour. And we'll work on our projects together. We'll have some coffee or tea, depending on the time of day. And then we'll answer some questions or just chat about what's happening in our lives and where we need support. The first circle actually happens on January 24th. And I invite you to join me in my Facebook community. The link will be in the show notes and you can come into the event, and then I'll see you on the 24th on a live call. Super excited about starting that in the new year. And let's get into this episode. So, why the Knitting Mamas podcast? It's been on my heart to start this podcast for well over a year when I realized that knitting has really become an outlet for me in multiple areas of my life, not just for creativity, which is a big part of it, of course, but also it's been part of my self-care routine. Knitting has just become such a great thing for me to just kind of dive in and become more mindful, that I felt the strong urge to talk to other moms about it. I've always talked about guilt-free self-care and, having this urge of running around all day and just trying to fit it all in and to get it all done and just feeling exhausted at the end of the day, and oftentimes not even thinking that, I've done that much and I've accomplished many things. And while I was on a journey and on a mission to, encourage other moms to just kind of look at their day and really think about what they have accomplished and feeling or not feeling this guilt, or just kind of ditching that guilt and saying, hey, I deserve this time to myself now. I realized that for myself, this kind of mix of sitting down, knitting, using my creativity, but also just slowing down, because, when you knit a piece that you're making for yourself, it's a sweater or it's a scarf or a hat or whatever it might be, it takes time. It doesn't, it's not like going to the store, buying it, putting it on and being amazed at how you look. It takes some time, and just that kind of slowing down on all ends, not just slowing down, sitting down, not doing something else and just focusing solely on the knitting. That is definitely a part of slowing down, but also just having that slow fashion where, you're just doing something just to do it, not to have a goal in mind necessarily. And you're not trying to hurry up. You're not trying to get it done, except when, it's Christmas and you got to hurry up and it's a gift for somebody. But all those things kind of came together over the pandemic for me when I realized I had knitted in 20 years or probably even longer. And during the pandemic, I started picking up my knitting needles again, thinking, hey, this is a perfect time. We're all slowing down. Everybody is kind of trying to figure out what else they can do in their day at home. And yeah, I remembered that I had learned to knit, and I actually always loved it. I learned it when I was 14 from my grandmother back in Germany, where I am from. And I always loved it. I did it well into my 20s, but then I had kids and somehow it fell off, like so many things we did before we had children. And I was just so very lucky and happy that I remembered that I loved that craft and that I want to pick it back up. And it's a little bit like riding a bike. I was able to pretty easily jump back in. But it took a little bit for me to kind of, get the hang of it again. And there's a couple of things that I couldn't remember how to do. So I watched videos, I went to YouTube, and I just kind of figured it out. But now I want to teach you. And if you're a beginner knitter, then I have definitely something for you. It's a beginning series of videos that I recorded on YouTube over the year. And they're free to watch for you. So you can just hop over into the show notes, go to the link to my YouTube channel, and it's a whole playlist of, beginner-friendly knitting videos. So you're very welcome to do that if you're a beginner knitter. If not, you're also welcome to this podcast, but you might not need the beginner YouTube channel. But you are just encouraged to use your craft as a downtime activity, as something that will, take you from your busy life to a place of just mindfulness, creativity, and just being in the moment. I really think that there aren't many crafts. There might be, other handcrafts that do that. But what I particularly love about knitting is the fact that you can take it anywhere. You can knit in your car, you can knit at your kid's game or dance or wherever you go. You can practically take your little bag of yarn and needles and your pattern, and you can just go ahead and whip it out whenever you're ready. But you can also do it at home on the couch while you watch a movie with your family, and you still get that kind of relaxation, and you're creating something that you can be proud of. So that is kind of the story behind all of this. And for those of you who have been following me over the years or over the last few months, you also know that I'm really, really big into essential oils and natural wellness. And I incorporate all of those things into my routines, into my well-being routines, my wellness self-care routines. And they go hand in hand with the knitting too, which I didn't even realize they would. So that's amazing. And I'm here to share some tips and tricks with you over the course of these episodes that will definitely help you if you're new to natural wellness or anything that has to do with essential oils and how they can help you in your life with your stress, your focus, your sleep, all the different areas in your life. In fact, immune system, I just got over a cold and I had to use a ton of my amazing essential oils, and I'm just so, so happy to have them. So get ready for some natural wellness tips as well. And another aspect of this whole stress relief and wellness for busy moms approach is morning routines that are really simple, that may even incorporate the mindful knitting and the natural wellness to start your day not only positively, but also just calm and ready. When you know that whatever may come today, it might knock you a little bit off course, but when you start your day really on your terms and in a way that is intentional and not just rushed and reactive, but more proactive, then you can really handle those things better. And that is my goal for you. And that is also something that I continue to work on, because we're not perfect at any of these things. And getting these reminders out in the world for myself and for you, I think is just going to be very helpful. I aim to help you create a guilt-free self-care routine. And I want to have the knitting at its core. So again, if you're a brand new person to knitting and you're like, I don't even knit yet, don't worry. Keep listening, because there's other tips that don't necessarily revolve around the knitting that you are going to catch on this podcast. But also just try it out. Just try it out and see if it's something for you and if it's catching you like it did me, with this creative outlet and this like real mindful, calm, awesome hobby that you can add into your life, even though you might think that you don't have any time left. I promise you do, and a couple of minutes can work wonders. And lastly, I am so excited to start building a supportive community through our shared passion of knitting and natural wellness, and hopefully relaxing without guilt really soon. If you're still in that frantic state of your life where you're just like, I cannot sit down, or everything will fall apart, the wheels are going to come off and nothing is going to get done, take a deep breath, Mom. You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. I remember being there. I remember thinking, if I don't do this right now, no one's going to do it. If I sit down right now, I will fall asleep. If I sit down right now, nothing else is going to get done. My kids are going to starve. It's just going to be a bad thing. You're going to be okay. And we're going to hold your hand, and I'm going to give you some practical tips and tricks on how you can make this easier for you, where you can step out of that guilt, that mom guilt that pulls you into all the different directions, whether it's not spending enough time with your kids, whether it's not spending enough time on maybe a business that you're trying to work on, or even whether it's not spending enough time on yourself and you feel guilty about that. We have all been there. We continuously are there. So let's keep each other accountable and also remind each other that this is possible and that we do need that time for ourselves, because we just otherwise will run out of steam. So let's wrap up this episode with the reminder to join our Facebook group, the Knitting Mamas Facebook community. I'm going to put the link in the show notes. And don't forget, our first Knit and Chill Circle is happening on January 24th, and I cannot wait to see your faces there. It's going to be so fun. I hope to see you there, and I hope you enjoyed this very first episode of the Knitting Mamas podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Hey Mama, I hope you've soaked up some great ideas from today's episode. Remember, a happy mom makes for a happy fam. If today's chat hit home with you, it would mean the world if you could leave a 5-star written review on iTunes. Your review will help other moms discover our community and embrace guilt-free self-care. Also, if you're scrolling through Instagram, why not snap a screenshot of this episode for your stories? Don't forget to tag me at The Knitting Mamas so that I can shout you out on my page as well. Plus, that way we can stay connected and spread the self-care magic. Oh, and have you heard about our cozy Facebook community? It's a guilt-free zone where we share relaxing routines, essential oils, and knitting adventures, and so much more. Come join us today at bit.ly/knittingmamas, and let's unwind together. Until we chat again, take care, Mama. And remember, looking after yourself is not selfish. It's essential for that balanced life. Catch you soon right here on the Knitting Mamas podcast.